Good morning, class. Today we are going to recapitulate some topics from matter. Okay, so first of all, uh, we will be discussing atom and molecule. So, what is atom? We know matter is matter. Suppose if we take any solid or any liquid, suppose we are taking a block of iron. Okay, so if we uh, see properly this block of iron, then we will get that it contains some small particles. Okay, if we break this, or suppose uh, this is a chalk. Okay, if we break this chalk after this is a piece of chalk, suppose. Okay, so if I break this chalk, we will be getting, first of all, we will make it half. Okay, then this half again we are going to break. Okay, so in this manner, if we continue uh, do this process, if we continue this, then after certain time we will be getting this kind of smaller particles. This is the smallest particle, we can say. That means after this we cannot break the chalk piece. So when we are breaking this chalk piece and we are getting the smaller particles from it, smaller parts of it, and after a certain time, after continuing this process, we are getting this kind of a very small particle which cannot be broken down further. So this smallest particle is called an atom. Okay, which cannot be broken down, and this particle we will consider as the smallest particle of any matter. And this particle contain or this particle can show all the properties of that particular matter. That means in this smallest particle of this chalk piece, all the properties of chalk can be we can get all the properties of the chalk. Okay, so this particle we will be calling as atom. Now what about molecules? Molecules are also the smallest particle of any matter, but here we will be calling as this, we will call as a compound. So why this difference? The smallest particle of a compound we will be calling as molecule. Suppose if we take a common salt, sodium chloride. Say this is the sodium chloride molecule, and here we are getting two different elements. One is sodium, this is one element, and another is chlorine. So this is another element. Suppose if I make a model of sodium chloride, say this is atomic model. From this we can make these models. So here sodium, suppose this blue color particle we will be calling as, see this blue particle or this blue atom, this is sodium atom, we will consider it as sodium atom, and this is chlorine atom. So we are joining them together with this bond. This is called a chemical bond. See, you can see the white color bond between them. So suppose this is a sodium chloride molecule, though it as sodium chloride is ionic compound, so in this manner the existence of sodium chloride we will not get, but just to explain this we can make this kind of molecule of sodium chloride. Now see, this is one element, sodium and this is one element chlorine. Now if we if we separate the particles, if we separate the atoms, then this is sodium atom, this is chlorine atom. Okay, so now we cannot call them as sodium chloride because they are not joined together with this chemical bond. So when we will get them separated, sodium and chlorine, then this is one element and this is another element. Okay, sodium and chlorine. So without the bond we cannot call them as a compound, and that's why the smallest particle of a compound is always a molecule. Okay, for a compound the smallest particle will be a molecule. Whenever we will separate them, then it will no more be the compound, as they are the particles has been separated, and now it will not show any property of the compound sodium chloride. So separated elements sodium and chlorine will show their own individual properties which are different than that of the compound sodium chloride. Okay, so for a compound the smallest particle will be molecules, and for any element, suppose this, if this we consider as an iron block, then if we break the iron block, then we will be we are going to get same kind of particles. Okay, same kind of iron particle. So for this, for an element we can call the smallest particle as an atom, but for a compound the smallest particle of a compound will be always a molecule. Now from this we can conclude that the difference between atom and molecules what is the difference? Atoms are the smallest unit of an element. Okay, which shows all the properties of that element, whereas molecules are the smallest unit of an element or a compound, which show all the properties of that element or compound. Okay, so molecules we can call we can use for both element and compound, and for atom it must be, atom is the smallest unit of an element. Okay, which shows all the properties of that particular element. Now as atoms are not they are not having the proper electronic configuration or stable electronic configuration, so they cannot exist independently. Okay, atoms are they cannot exist independently because they are unstable, we can say. Okay, atoms are generally unstable because they are single and they are not having the proper electronic configuration or stable electronic configuration. So this is number 1. So number 2, for this we can say as atoms cannot exist independently, whereas molecules, we have seen that molecules we are getting by when atoms are joined together by chemical bonds. That's why molecules are much more stable and they can exist independently. we have seen, no, that atoms are not bonded together by chemical bond. That's why they cannot exist independently, and atoms are not having stable electronic configuration. Though there are few exceptions, we know that noble gas atoms, these are having noble gas atoms are uh, having stable electronic configuration. They are having the number of electrons which are required to attain the stability. In noble gas atoms, we are getting the that electronic configuration of that electronic configuration or the number of electrons. Okay, so for noble gas atoms, we can say atoms are they can exist independently, but for other atoms, as they are not having a proper electronic configuration or stable electronic configuration, so for them atoms are unstable. Okay, and because of this instability of atoms, atoms are much more reactive than molecules. So whenever we will be getting the chemical reactions, always atoms take part in chemical reaction. Though the molecules can take part, but molecules first, uh, the bonds should be broken down. I will show that now. Okay, if suppose, acha, let me do it once. Suppose the reaction between hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, if we consider this, reaction, hydrogen and oxygen, then these two will react together to form water, H2O. Okay, now here hydrogen is, this is one hydrogen molecule, and this is one oxygen molecule, and this is one water molecule, just like this. Okay, so this is a water molecule, H2O. This red particle or red ball, this we will consider as oxygen. Okay, and this sky blue color balls are hydrogens, and these are the chemical bonds between them. Okay, so if we draw the structure of water, this will we need some space for it. Achha, let me finish this difference, then I will be showing that. Okay, so here what we have got, atoms are, they are more reactive. Okay, atoms are more reactive, they take part in chemical reactions, whereas molecules are less reactive. Okay, molecules are less reactive. And number 4 we can write, for atoms we will not we cannot see any chemical bond, so chemical bonds are absent here. For atoms we can say as chemical bonds are absent. Okay, whereas for molecules we can see the chemical bonds, because two or more atoms join together by chemical bonds to form molecules. Okay, so chemical bonds are present. Chemical bonds are present in molecules. So this is the difference between atoms and molecules, we can say. Now let us discuss why atoms are more reactive than molecules. So we have considered the reaction between hydrogen and oxygen to form water. Okay, so if we see the actual structure of hydrogen molecule, this is a hydrogen molecule, this is oxygen molecule. So two hydrogen atoms are bonded together with this chemical bond. So which can be shown in this manner. See, I have taken one sky blue color ball. Through this I am representing hydrogen, one hydrogen atom. This is one hydrogen atom, a single hydrogen atom. Okay, now let me put this with this chemical bond. Another hydrogen atom I am taking. So this will represent our hydrogen molecule. Okay, this is our hydrogen molecule. Hope you can understand now. Okay, so this is the bond between them which I have shown in this manner, and these two are the hydrogen atoms. Now in the same manner we are going to show oxygen, and for oxygen we are taking this red ball. We are taking this red ball for oxygen, and here we are taking this bended, this it's a kind of carved bond. Why this we have taken for oxygen? Because oxygen is its valency is 2, so one oxygen atom can one oxygen atom can so this is our oxygen atom. Okay, hope you can see this. This is one oxygen atom, this is one oxygen atom, and this is another oxygen atom which is bonded together with this chemical bond. Here I am using two chemical bonds because oxygen's valency is 2. So one oxygen atom can attach with two atoms together. Okay, it can form bond with two atoms together. So its valency is 2. That's why it will form two bond. So through this we are representing oxygen atoms. Okay, here we are using this double bond. Though why this bond, double bond will be there, that you are going to get in the higher classes. Okay, so just for now you know this, as oxygen can form two bonds together. So here we will be using this two bonds. Okay, so this is one oxygen molecule and this is one hydrogen molecule. Now when they will form bond with they will form this water, the structure of water we can show in this manner. Okay, so this is oxygen atom, the red one, and these two are two hydrogen atoms. Okay, so this is the structure of water which can be drawn in this manner. Okay, now you see this is hydrogen atom, this is hydrogen molecule. Okay, this is hydrogen molecule and this is oxygen molecule. Okay, this is hydrogen molecule, this is oxygen molecule, and this is the water molecule. Now here in water molecule we are getting the bond between one oxygen atom and one hydrogen atom, whereas here we are getting the bond between two hydrogen atoms and two oxygen atoms. Now if we don't break the bonds between hydrogen and oxygen, if we don't get the hydrogen and oxygen separated, then how we will make the bond between oxygen and hydrogen? This is not possible if we don't break the bonds between hydrogens and oxygen. Okay, and that's why from the this is the molecular form, this is the molecular forms, and after that, after breaking the bond, we are getting it in atomic form. Okay, so from this we are getting two hydrogen atom, from this we are getting two oxygen atom. Okay, now this single hydrogen atom can combine two hydrogen atoms can combine with one oxygen atom to form this water molecule. Okay, so from this we can conclude that if we don't break, if we don't break the bonds between two hydrogen atoms, that means if we don't break the bond between the hydrogen molecule, and if we don't break the bond between oxygen molecules, then oxygen and hydrogen cannot combine to form water. That's why during any chemical reaction and all, we have to break the molecules to its atomic form, then only the atoms will react to form the product. Okay, and that's why atoms are reactive, more reactive than that of the molecules. Okay, because atomic form of the elements or anything will take part in the chemical reaction. Molecular space, this term we are going to discuss now. Okay, so what is intermolecular space? We know between the particles, in any matter, if we consider these are the atoms of any matter, then in between the matter, in between the particles or in between the molecules or atoms, there are some gaps. So these gaps are called as intermolecular space, which can be shown in this manner. So for this we are going to do some activity. For this we need a beaker. We need some bigger particles. So this we are going to fill in this beaker. Okay, these are, so you can take, these are very easy to do at your home also, you can do that. So I am just filling this particles in this beaker. Okay, you can see I have filled the beaker with these particles. Now this we will consider as the matter. Okay, so matter is made up of these particles, bigger particles. So these are the atoms of the particular matter, say. Now in between the matter, in between the particles, you can see some gaps. Okay, hope you can see that particles are not tightly packed, or in that sense some gaps are there in between them. Okay, so these gaps we can fill with some more smaller particles. Okay, with some smaller particles we can fill the gap. So this I am going to do now. In this I am adding some smaller particles. You can see that these smaller particles are adjusting themselves in between the gaps of this bigger particles. See, I have filled this, but the volume is not increasing. Okay, that means these smaller particles are adjusting themselves. Can you see or not? The particles are adjusting themselves in between the gap of the bigger particles. Okay, so why we could have done this, as in between the bigger particles some gaps are there, which we are calling as intermolecular space. That's why this, after adding the smaller particles, we are not getting any increase of the volume and all. Okay, so volume is we are keeping the volume same only, but as the smaller particles are adjusting themselves in between the gaps of the bigger particles. So this, through this we can show that in any matter, maybe it may be of solid or liquid or gas, there are intermolecular space, but this intermolecular space or intermolecular this gap is maximum in gases, we know, because gas particles are far apart, they are far apart from each other because of this random motion of them. Okay, there are a lot of space available in between two particles of gases, and this intermolecular space is lowest in solids, because solid particles are in congested manner and they are in packed manner. Okay, so this we can consider as solid particles, though it is in a congested manner, or in it is packed packed together. Okay, the particles of solid are packed together, very tightly packed, closely packed, but then also there are certain gaps between them, and which can be filled with smaller particles. Okay, so this is the intermolecular space, we can say. Now the same intermolecular space, we can prove that intermolecular space is there in, this is liquid we have taken, water I have taken. So hope you can see that up to, so here hope you can see that up to 80 ml I have taken the water. Okay, this is normal water only, and up to 80 ml I have taken water. So 80 ml of water I have taken. Now in this I am adding some salt. Okay, spoonful of salt I am adding in this, and I am just stirring it properly so that the salt can get dissolved in this water. It's almost dissolved. Hope you can see it's almost dissolved properly. Now it is dissolved and we have got a homogeneous mixture. Okay, see, the water is just like as before adding the salt. Can you get any increase of the level of water? No, there are no increase of level. It's still 80. Okay, can you see that? It's still 80. Why this is? A question is also there in your in this chapter. Only one question is there. Why after adding sugar and salt, sugar or salt in water, there will be no the level will same as before the adding of sugar and salt, sugar or salt. Why this this we can see because of this intermolecular gaps. Okay, intermolecular space. As in water molecule, as in liquid, or here we have taken water. So as in water, intermolecular, lot of intermolecular space is there. So when we are adding the salt molecules get dissolved in it, and it will the particles of salt get adjusted in between the intermolecular space of water, and because of this the level of water remain as it is. Okay, there will be no increase of level of water after adding salt or sugar. Okay, so from this again we can prove that there are some intermolecular space in matter. Okay, so here I am ending today's class. You just go through this properly, you go through the book, and this is very very important. Each and every day I am telling this, that you have to read the book thoroughly. Okay, so do that. Hope you are doing that. So do it, and be safe, be careful. Have a nice day. Thank you.